Thrive, heavy lies the crown. I know some people are saying that since Manor Lord released, we shouldn't really look at anything else, but while I agree that of course Manor Lord brought tons of innovation, it's good to continue looking, in my opinion, at other games. So today we're looking at Thrive, heavy lies the crown, which just released in early access on November 7th with positive reviews on Steam. And they're planning only 1 year in early access with the full release next year. So what is this game? It's a single player but also multiplayer. You can actually play in co-op or against your friends, and there's also multiple AIs on the map. This is a bit like Anno, where you're going to have multiple colonies on one big map, and there's also multiple tiers of population like Anno. At the same time, it's not just city building, there's also proper RTS aspect of the game with large armies, defenses, and more. You will of course see the classical aspect of gathering resources, production chains, houses, different tiers of population, like I said, that requires multiple needs. But there's also other elements like research, edicts, etc. And there's a huge innovation, in my opinion, where you need to choose if you want the tyranny or the benevolence track. And each of these two brings actual gameplay impact and visual impact, where your buildings will look different, you'll have access to different things. So let's dive into the game. There's a pretty good tutorial, so I'm going to show you that, and hopefully you're keen to see more, and I'll do a couple of episodes on this one. And before we dive in, to be clear, this is not a sponsored video at all. I'm just sharing my thoughts about the game. As I said, there is a large map. This is the whole map over here, and you can choose where you want to start. But don't worry, as I said, you'll also be able to colonize basically the whole map if you want. So it's not like if I choose Nausea over here, or if I choose Honor at the bottom, I'm stuck there. I can actually go further. And you'll see that also each of these regions, they have different fertilities or resources. It is not the same depending. But at the beginning, usually, basically, whichever you choose, you're gonna get those 4 here, because these are the starting resources. This is what you need to start. But then the other ones will be available in other domains. So for example, over here, I'm starting with the apple for food, but then this will be another region that gets the wheat or other fertilities. So anyway, let's start. I think over here, doesn't matter. We can choose change our flag also. That's always good. And we're gonna start. Now the story is that you used to be in a kingdom, and you left this kingdom. You left this kingdom because there was a lot of disease, and say there was something magical happening. I'm not gonna tell you right away what it is because it's part of the story, but you had to leave, and now you are moving into a new kingdom. You just arrived and you don't know what's happening, and you have to rebuild, right? So here it is. Let's dive into it. By the way, I know some people hate it when you have to play the tutorial. Well, in this one, you don't have to. You can skip it if you want. But again, I'm going to show it to you so that you understand. I have played it before, but so before we dive into the game, obviously, you have your classic things to be able to move around, WASD. You can rotate, zoom in, zoom out, etc. I'll show you that. Now we have a caravan here. A caravan is, like a trade ship in Anno. We're going to be able, to create wherever we want our first colony. And if I zoom out, you can see I'm in the middle of this region, but then I'll be able to go to many other regions. And there's also these regions over here. They are in different colors because they are owned by somebody else. This is an AI in this case, but as I said, you can also play in multiplayer where some of these regions will be owned either by your friends or by enemies. That could be still your friends, but they will play enemies. So we click over here on deploy to start creating a first keep. So this is the central of our town. I see a lot of stone here, and here I see actually also quite a lot of stone and wood. So we're gonna start here. Good. All of these are my people. All right, you can see we started with 20 people, 20 farmers to be precise. Each of them are individually simulated, they have a name, etc. And right now they're not happy because they don't have a house. But the first thing is to actually create this keep. So they're going to start building it. And I'm not saying these are the best graphic I've ever seen, but I really like that they are building it, and slowly but surely, and you can see the different elements. So that is pretty cool. So our keep is obviously the center of our town, right? They're all here now. It has a number of hells, etc. But the key thing now is we're gonna need to, go into logistic over here and create a primitive stockpile. So this is where you store your resources, all right? So we're gonna put a stockpile over here because again, there is so much of stone and wood there that I think this is a perfect place to start doing some cutting and things like this. So this is obviously costing some, actually it is not costing that much resource. This is just costing some upkeep, but they still need to build it. So you see 2 builders over here, the progress, you can prioritize, right, all those type of things. Then they're gonna want us, to build a logging camp. So let's put it over here, and a miners camp, and similarly, I think we're gonna put it just over there next to it. What miners camp is depleted? It says there's no. What? That seems strange. These are not stone there. What? Where are the stone then? Oh, here is stone, but this is stone too. Okay, so I guess this is our first bug, ladies and gents. I don't know. Or did I click maybe on the miner? Maybe I clicked on the miner. Sorry, my bad. So yeah, you want the logger camp and the quarrier camp, not the miners camp. That's my bad. Sorry. So it is. They are, they're building over here. You can see all of the resources. You can also expand the range. You can see the range over here to make them more close or far, of course. Depending on the range, you're also going to have a different number of people, and they're gonna work, more or less. Then we're talking about food, right? So we're gonna want to make some food. I think we're gonna make maybe a corner of actually getting the food here, and then maybe the population on this side. So the food store, this actually costs resources. You can see 20 wood and 8 stone. Right, so that's good that we've started over here, but we can actually, decide now where are we going. So we're gonna place actually 2 different ones. We're gonna place one on this side, and then we can make another one later on. Let me build a couple more roads just to get ready to prepare my city. Now I know some people are going to be like, wait, this is a grid one, I don't like grids, why can't they do like Manor Lord with no grids? Yes, it is a grid city builder, but there's been a lot of great grid city builders. That doesn't mean much to me. I think both can be good, and I really love how they're building slowly but surely. Those buildings are really cool, really cool. While this is happening, obviously you can see the UI at the top, right? We have the day, the speed, many other elements. We'll talk about this soon. But yeah, this is our food store. So this is where, of course, we're going to store all of our resources. And you can see them, by the way, clicking over here, right? I can see all of them. Similarly here, I can see, not in the keep, but in my primitive storage, right? I can see the resources, like the log has been created, the rough stone, etc. Now the next mission is to have enough stone and logs to move forward. We have collected quite a lot of logs already. Stones were almost there, so we're going to be able to move forward. And I think the next part is to start having some houses, is to start making some food with apple orchard and some firewood to eat our home with the wood chopper. So let's do this. We have in the farmer structure, so these are buildings that are going to require farmers to work, versus later, we're going to have the labor structure that require laborers, and then you can see 2 more question mark for 2 other tiers of population, which are available right now in the early access. It's not like they will come later, they are there, but you will unlock them a bit later. So we have the wood chopper, and let's put it over here next to my woodcutter and my primitive hut. Did I put it on the wrong? Oof, I put it one tile close. So let's put one more road. It's fine. And then for the food, for the apple orchard, you actually need to create a farm, and it's a bit like Farther Frontier, where the farm is going to have a specific side. So if I look at a farm this side, this is going to be 1 farmer, 2 farmers, 3 farmers, 4, 5, etc. Right? So you can, and then it is too big. So you can be trying to be a bit smart, right, based on how many workers you have, and also potentially, to try to close a gap that you have. But let's start with a 5 workers over here. Good. Now we can see though, it seems that we have a problem here. Nobody's working. Oh no, that's not good, right? Obviously. We have the resource bar over here. They're telling us, right, you can change either of this. Right now, I've only unlocked these resources. Of course, in the future, we'll unlock many more. But yeah, I like that you are able to change which resources you can see there. That's definitely a good thing. And soon it's going to be time for a well. So all of these resources, many of the buildings they have ranges or areas, you know, of impact. So that is what's described over here. And let me show you that in practice. So if I click on my primitive stockpile, you can see this range here. So every resources in that range can be picked up by this primitive stockpile. Similarly, for the food store, this is a different circle, different color too, by the way, right? And you can see that obviously all of the farms that are in that range will be able, you know, to deliver there. And this is the same for the well, right? For water. So everything in that blue range now will be able, you know, to be serviced by this. And that is going to be useful for things like fires, but also other elements. Of course, our people are going to want, you know, also this water and a couple of other like production buildings and things like this. Now, as I did mention, we do have a problem that it seems like nobody's working over here, right? Nobody's working over there. So let's click on the job overview here, and we can see that we have 0 people unemployed because we have 5 that are builders right now. We have 6 in the logger camp, 3 in the primitive stockpile, 6 in the quarry camp, and that I guess is 20 already, no? 6 and 6, 12, plus 3, 15, plus 5, 20. Now you can do a couple of things. First of all is 5 builders, probably a lot right now, especially given that we're not really building anything except the well. Then you can also move what is the priority. So personally, for example, I would say that the apple orchard is probably the priority. So you can see that now we do have 5 people working in the apple orchard. Great. The second thing that you can do is you can click on all of these buildings here, and you can say if you want more or less. So right now, you know, there's 3 people working there. I can say, okay, now I only want 2 working there. And therefore, you know, there's 1 more working here, for example. So that is definitely critical, you know, to do this, to manage your working population. So what I'm going to do is put these that are critical for my city to survive as first, but we're going to also put less workers, you know, on these, and that way we have a bit more on the others. Okay, and you know, you can micromanage this basically. So that's pretty good. Even if I will ask the developers, they're asking why can't I do the same for the quarrier and the camp, changing the number of workers here. You have to go into the building there if you want to do that. I don't get it. Like, it's good that you can also go into the buildings, obviously. You know, I'm not saying it's not good. Like, I like that I can do that also on the building, but why can't I do it here too? And by the way, again, this is just for the farmers. In the future, we'll get also the same for laborers, etc. It's time to build our houses. And in our houses, there's going to be a key thing, which is the happiness. Basically, if you provide the right needs, your people are going to be happy. If you don't, they're not going to be happy. And when they're not happy, they're going to work less. And they're also going to potentially revolt and, you know, destroy things and whatnot. So if we go over here, we can see the farmer's house, right? Now the farmer's house is going to have needs. Some of the needs are, you know, they want food, they want water, etc. So if I put, you know, this house over here, it's great. You can see with the circle, it has access to food, it has access to the firewood, it has access to water, but there's really not that much space. So I think what I suggest is, while it will cost us a bit more to do this, is now we're going to create a new, you know, sort of circle of influence over here, for example, with a primitive stockpile, a food store also, and a well. So the well is actually a very small range, so maybe we're going to put it more over here, like one on this side and then maybe one on the other side later. So I'm creating basically new circle of influence, right? Expanding the circle of influence if you wish. And this way I know where to, like, I can put all of the houses over there and not have a problem with them being in the same place as the productions. So I can keep things a bit cleaner and more organized. So it is, I think they tell us 10. So yeah, let's go, let's put more. We are at 9, and we can go even more than 10, to be honest, because it's going to be needed, I guarantee you. You do have to note though that they all cost resources, of course, right? So it's going to take a second. And I put a road also over here. Nice organize, you know, nice and clean in terms of organization. And I think we will probably need another, yeah, well on the other side too, to keep, or maybe I put it So I haven't obviously min-maxed yet what is the best organization. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, so yeah, they're gonna start building all of this. so that my people get a bit happier. Is there any of the houses built? No, not yet. I could prioritize one, but it's fine. What I'm gonna do is just accelerate the time, and I'll see you in a sec when all of this has been built. Now, the other thing to note is that your people, when they are, a bit happy in a house, this is going to also provide you with money. So you may remember that each of these buildings, they cost some upkeep. 5 for this building over here, the primitive stockpile, 5 also for the food store, etc. So that is maintenance. This is what you can see over here, the 45 of maintenance. But when you have farmers in houses, they will also give you income. And this is what here right now I have 51. So 51 minus 45, I'm making a profit of 6. Great, because obviously money is going to be important, as always. They do tell us over here to also check the help button, so you can see the help button on each building and also on everything else. This is a great tutorial. Look at this, there is a lot of details on the health of buildings, on happiness. I'm sure there is others like needs and luxury, etc. Sorry. So what did I want to show you? Yes, looking at one house like this, you can see there's 2 people living into this house here. There's 2 others kind of slot in the house, or beds if you wish, that are locked right now. They will be unlocked when you provide more needs to the people. There is also the status of each of these buildings that provide you different sort of happiness. My happiness right now on average is 88, so they're pretty happy. That's good. You need to provide them with things for them to be happy. So in this case, for example, right, we can see that they have access to the stockpile, they have access to the food store. Think of this as, do they have access to the market, right? Do they have access to the well? Yes, great. They have firewood. They don't have yet apples because it's locked. It will be unlocked when we get 40 farmers. So we do want to get to 40 farmers as soon as we can. This will be unlocked by having more houses, right? The more houses you have, the more you'll be able to get some people into your city. If you build it, they will come. Yes, as I said earlier, if 20 or more of your individuals are not happy, right, they will start really creating problems, things like reducing your production, also decreasing your income. So that is not good. That is not good. I don't know, the job menu, there's nobody working that well. Sorry, my bad. So it is, they've put again 3 people there. That's too many, sorry. In the apple orchard, that's fine. In the well, we had 6, that's good. So yeah, they're just explaining that you can move up and down those things, like I told you before. Yep. We are now quite low on workers, so I'd love to get a bit more. And this is the point now that, we want to get more population in. So yeah, we need to grow our workforce, right? And we want to also get more things for people. So the next one, as I said, was apple. We've started this, but there's also 2 luxuries, the hemp clothing and the cider. So we're gonna want to make that happen for sure, right? This is why they say first reach 40, then build the hemp farm, the fermenter, etc., etc. So let me once again jump slightly into the future when I will have 40 people, and then we can start building all of those things. And we haven't reached 40 yet, but something happened. We have a first event. There is a story, and this story is also not fully linear. We're gonna have choices to be made. So yeah, we just settled in, and you're gonna be introduced just now to a couple of my advisors. There is the Chancellor over here. There is Sir Othean. Think of this as your general, and the ruler is me, obviously. And then there is the Duke, which think of it as your, Minister of Finance. Right? And they're all saying basically what should we be doing, and you can decide. Right? They will tell you things, but you will be able to decide. For example, right, I can decide to talk to the general and say, yeah, safety is important, right? Or I can talk to which one is it? The Chancellor. I think this is the one for the money, right? So anyway, you will be able to make choices, and based on your choices, it will have some impact. It will have some impact in terms of what resources maybe they give you, some bonuses, things like this. And also later on, as I mentioned, there is those 2 different sort of paths, the path of benevolence and the path of tyranny. And this is based on this, you're going to make choices like this. So I'm not going to go through exactly everything that they're saying over here. You can pause the video and read it if you want, or do tell me also in the comments below if you want me to start acting, all of those dialogues. But basically, this is a choice we can make. So I'm going to ask my Duke what his thoughts are, because I think it's very important. Our citizens are indebted to us. To rebuild, they should devote their life and wealth to the cause. Okay, yeah. Oh my god, yeah, he doesn't seem very kind, this one. So let's ask the Chancellor what he thinks. Right? And again, I'm doing this because I'm waiting anyway to get the 40 people. Let's focus on food. I like that. I think it's important to focus on food. The general, of course, thinks we should be focusing on defenses and army. I actually think I agree with this guy. I want some food. Here it is. He gave me 200 of food. So spoiler alert, if you choose, for example, the military, is going to give you equipment for weapons, right, and those type of things. But yeah, food is important. So Act 1, we've completed, the first event, and then we're going to have several more events in Act 1, then we move to Act 2, Act 3, etc. Okay, we are at 37 while we were speaking. That's great. Now, one thing that I feel the game is missing, or at least I haven't found, so if you have found it, do tell me where it is, because again, maybe it is in population over here. It's not easy to see. It's not easy to see because what I'm missing, I was going to tell you what I'm missing is I don't know if I have enough houses to reach 40. And it's hard to see. I mean, obviously it's 2 per houses, but I don't even see anywhere how many houses I have. So yeah, I'm guessing that we don't have enough houses. So let me make a couple more over there. It doesn't hurt anyway to have more population as long as we can feed them. And right now I have a lot of food, so that's great. We also have a lot of water, mainly because I've created so many wells, right? And there's a lot of people working there. There's, by the way, an internal storage in this building. So you can see this well has 500 of storage, for example. And then there is also the storage of the, in this case, the food store, right? So that is another important element. You can see my total over here, right? And it's blue because it's full, if I'm not mistaken. Not blue, sorry, green. Okay, we're gonna reach the 40 now, and so with 40, we're gonna unlock some new productions, like the fermenter, the outfitter, etc. For the fermenter, it will use apples. For the outfitter, it will use M-farm. So we need to start also this. Let's see, this is a big building, as you can see. Can I place it maybe over here then? As long as it's, no, let's place it close to that. And actually, no, I don't want to destroy all of these resources, so let's put the farm on this side. I don't know if that's going to be enough, but let's start with the farm for 4. And then the fermenter we can keep next to our food store, right? Because this is where it needs to be delivered. Okay. So they're building both of those things. That's great. Again, you can choose to make sure to put them. Right now, all of those resources are here, so that's fine. So we build those 2, they're gonna start producing now, perfect. And we should also see that my people there, right now, we have unlocked the apple. Some of them I think already have it, others gonna take a minute for them to be able, to be delivered by my marketer, by my, market over here, my food store. There's only one of her, and you can see it, she's here, right? She's walking around. As I said, all of the individuals are fully simulated, so you're going to see them walk around, see where they go, etc, etc. We can over here see that I have 6 people unemployed, so it's probably a good time to start increasing, in particular maybe increasing in my market and in my primitive stockpile first. Alright, maybe also in my apple orchard. The M farm, we're gonna move it a bit higher, and same for the outfitter. I tend to keep my courier and logger towards the bottom, because these are the ones that, if I don't get it for 1 minute, it's fine. For a very long time, it won't be fine because I won't, develop my city. But it's better that than food. Okay. I always press escape, sorry, instead of clicking on the job one here. So I think we have built both of these. Yeah, and here it is. Why is there nobody walking there? I put it at the bottom. Sorry, my bad. Yes, yes. So let's put it up. So here it is. Now there's 3 people walking in it. They're going to be able, this fermenter is able to do 3 things. Either the cider, which will cost some apples, some water, and some firewood, or the beer, or the flu cure. So that is why you can see multiple resources over here. 3 people as working there. As always, I can change that if I want. You can see the production. We're going to produce 5 in a second here. And similarly, we have the outfitter here that can provide, that can make, different production. It does require, as always, an input, which in this case is the hemp, which we don't have yet because we just started, this farm here. So that's what's happening. There are actually the farmers here. You can see them delivering right now. Some of it, they're delivering into the stockpile, and then people over here are gonna take it and start making some clothes. So with this, we will be able in the future to have, more goods and therefore more people also inside each house. This will be unlocked at 60 farmers. We're not there yet, but yeah, we should be starting to make some of these. Now I know that right now this is really basic, this is normal city builder, but this is where all cities must start, right? And I do still think there is a couple of things that are slightly different from other games, like for example the fact that, it's not completely different. I know that in Anno you also have services, so you can say the well is a sort of service, but I like the fact that you have sort of those three circle of influence, and you need to try to maintain all three. We also have, as I mentioned in the intro, things like edicts, and research. So research is tome of knowledge, and the edicts are over here. Now in edicts, we'll usually, and it's not just the edicts, by the way, it's also the tome of knowledge. It will usually not always be perfect. I think this is one of the main negative things that people are saying about Anno 1800, is that things like the items, right, that you put into your town hall or your trade union, usually they're overpowered. They're like always super good. For these, it's always a bit of a trade-off. So for example, this forced labor is going to increase the productivity of my people by 25%, but they will lose 20 of happiness. So you need to decide, is that worth it or not for you? On top of this, it will also cost money, by the way. In this case, you can see 15 per day, but right now I'm making more than 270 per day of positive. So I think it makes sense, let's do it. My happiness right now is super high, so that's not a problem. That's not a problem. We need to click on the help button. Okay, why? And the edicts you want me to click? So again, all right, there's always a good tutorial for everything, so feel free to check that out. But yeah, we've done the edicts. Sorry, just before they were talking about the edicts, I did want to tell you indeed that I know this is a bit like standard right now, but as I mentioned before, the key thing is right now I'm building a small city over here. Soon I'm going to want to expand, build a new city somewhere else with different fertilities. So for example, here you can see there is some wheat, there is some fish. These are new things, right? And then we will also want, of course, to start going on the attack. There will be AIs like bandit camps and things like this, and there is also, a very big one over here that has multiple regions over here already. So that is going to be a challenge. And on top of this, there is also a couple of other, new mechanics that we haven't unlocked yet. But first, let's talk about the Tome of Knowledge. So as I said, this is a bit like your research tree. We are in tier 1 right now. We can move then to tier 2, etc., etc. To move to tier 2, you can see what is needed, right? You need to have first, you need to have at first 2 of these tier 1 research, and on top of this, they're going to ask you for money. Each of these, they take money indeed, right? And they also take time to be developed. For each of them, you usually have 2 or 3 choices. So let's take, for example, the well, right? We have the well over here. Option number 1 is that you increase the area of effect. So the area will increase, but the production will decrease. Option 2, and you have to choose 1 or 2. You cannot have both. Option 2 is that the production increases, but this requires sacrificing 20% of storage. So the storage will decrease. I feel like this is better. So let's select this one. It's going to cost me 80 of gold, but we have that. That's no problem. And 16 hours in game. So it's going to take a bit of time. And I like that you can actually see the time here. It's going to start moving. So here it is. We have done this. Now, next milestone is to reach 60 farmers. But I think maybe this is a good end for this first episode. I know I haven't shown you everything about the game yet. There is still a lot, even just at the top over here, there is of course trading, diplomacy, and much more. I did briefly show you the statistic menu. That is pretty good. Honestly, I think it is similar to Control Q in Anno, of course, but it works well. You can see per village, your production, this is your production, this is your consumption, and therefore the net bonus, right? You can see your storage, is it increasing, decreasing, your production too, per hour, per day, per week. So honestly, this is pretty good. I like that. So far, I think it's working well. And yeah, I think this game definitely has a lot of potential. As I said, I'm going to show you more, and in particular some of the new things, like what is this magic story background and things like this, the RTS part of the game, expansion also into other regions. We're going to cover it all in the next episode. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Smash like button. Also don't hesitate to tell me in the comments below your thoughts about this game so far, anything you want to see in particular, and I hope to see you next time.